Alright, so this is my final guide on the Bloodborne DLC. This is for Lawrence the First Vicar. This is just a basic guide on how to beat him. Now, this might not be the best guide, just because for his second phase, which people usually consider to be the worst one, I didn't actually get him there too often. As you'll see in this fight, that it didn't go super well, but I still won. But, yeah, I'm hoping I can throw my 2 cents in there, and hopefully it'll help somebody. So this is just me showing the basic run that if you don't know how to get back to him quickly, this is all you need to do. And I'm going to show you what I would personally do about this guy right here. Comes to this door, the big guy. If you kill him, he drops like 2 to 5 vials every single time. And that's good for not only if you died in the fight, but you can kind of use what I do and just make blood bullets, and you can hit him with arcane stuff if you have it. If you don't, I mean, if your arcane's really low, I guess just shoot him and hopefully you can stun him. Because, I mean, hey, you got 25 bullets at that point, right? Just keep shooting him in the face. But for me, this is the first time I was ever actually using Madara's Whistle against anything, and I had a basic idea with it, which I'll hopefully be able to demonstrate properly in this video. But this is also me just showing the safe way and how to deal with this guy, so you don't actually have to fight him. If you do want to fight him, take him onto the staircase and stand lower than him. Sometimes he just swings right over your head, if you really want to do it that way. But when he powers up and everything, just stand far back, and he just turns around, he doesn't even know you're there. And if you run into about where the second thing is, the closest one, that thing on the ground, that's when you can stop running and sort of walk, and that'll be good enough range for him to just not hear you. So moving past that, we're going to go shortly here into the Lawrence fight. Now the first thing I would recommend that you do almost every time, because it's just a free hit you're going to get in every single time. Sometimes you can get a second hit in. I don't know, maybe it's just I was seeing things, but it feels like when Lawrence dodges, like my sword would swing through him and not count. So I guess he has an invincibility frame, which I think sucks considering he does a tremendous amount of damage, both physically and through fire. It's just absurd, but run straight at him here and then dodge that attack where he slams in. He's going to walk forward to his hand, giving you a tell that he's going to make that explosion, and just hit him again, if you can. But I'd recommend try not to stand too close, because when that explosion is going to come, it does kind of go behind him. Another thing I could recommend is try and figure out like what his animations are for his attacks, and then just figure out how many attacks come in that one successive combo. Like this big swipe can be followed up by that grab. I think there's a ground punch he can do in a second swipe, and if he does a second swipe like he does there, he can do a third one. So just know how many there are, and eventually you just kind of get used to dodging them. But I don't know, it had been a while since I last fought Lawrence, so I kind of had to relearn the fight. So that's why I get hit by a lot of the swiping attacks. But overall, it was okay in the end. So one thing I can also recommend is that, oh yeah, when his health gets down just that small amount, he gets even worse. He has this annoying attack where he can do like a 180 slam on you. It sucks. He'll do it here shortly. But one thing I could recommend is, for me personally, I would stay not behind him, not in front of him, sort of around where his knee is. That's the attack I was talking about where he drops. If you stay around where his knee is, it gives you a good opportunity to dodge that swipe there by being close to him and kind of going between his legs. But it also helps in that, for me personally, is when he would keep continuously turning to look at me, I knew that I got a free hit in every single time. If you see him doing that, usually you can get one hit in. If you're lucky, depending on your weapon, sometimes you just stand there and let you hit him like 3 times. But here's what I was talking about with the Madara's Whistle. What I'm trying to do is, I can hit him in the legs. It's hard to hit him in the hands. His hands are swinging around. It's always in front of him. It's not easy. So what I would try to do is get Madara to come out of the ground and bite onto his arm to stun him. For anyone who doesn't know, with the Cleric Beast, hitting the arms and the legs and the head can cause stuns. And hitting in the head enough, or in the legs and arms enough, will actually allow a visceral state, which is pretty useful. That's a grab attack. He has 2 of them. They do a metric fuck ton of damage. Never get hit by him. But when his health gets down to about half, I was lucky. I managed to take him a little bit past it. He loses his legs, and this is the stage that people consider to be the worst part about him. This attack right here kills a lot of people from what I've seen, and for good reason. I mean, he just keeps crawling at you. He consumes the entirety of the space and almost the width of this entire arena you had to fight him in. What I would recommend is don't run away from him. Don't just stand in front of him. Stand sort of between where his rib cage and under his arm is, and that'll be sort of safe. I'd like to, again, say, excuse the bad gameplay. I had not taken him to a second stage very often. I was sort of out of my depth here with how to deal with him. I kept jumping into the lava because I just kept forgetting that it would hurt me that much. So I'm used to running into lava in a game, like, and it's sort of whatever, like, hey, that kind of hurt, but whatever. Not the case with him. Also, I did not know this, that lava vomit he spews out will continuously stun you. I thought I would get hit once and then just get out. Not the case. One very, very powerful attack that Lawrence has as he's in this state, he'll get up and raise his arm. He didn't do it too often in this fight, but he used to do it all the time, which is the attack that always killed me. It has the most unbelievable tracking and does an absurd amount of damage. If he does that, as soon as he starts coming down, that's when you want to dodge. If you do it too soon, he's going to hit you regardless. If you think you're behind him and it's safe, he's going to hit you regardless. It sucks. And he does that 180 swipe there, which is very punishable if you can dodge it. But if you can just keep running back to the same space, right here, and just dodge and get him, you'll be fine. Now, I got lucky that I could get him with charge attacks, but that won't work for everybody. But with a faster weapon, it shouldn't be a problem, because you can just bob and weave, duck in and out as you need to. Just remember not to stay too far away from him, and it should be okay. Now, I just kind of powered him down here at the end, and I finished with not much to write home with, but in the end, I still beat him. This was hopefully a good guide on how to beat him. I'm not too sure how else I can differentiate it for anyone else, but it worked for me.